Well guys, welcome back. I just have a really bad sinking gut feeling. I think I may have just erased all the footage of us building the icebox. I'm hoping that it's on my laptop because I remember downloading footage now, but yeah, hopefully. Just showing you guys where we're up to. We've got the icebox made. We just got to have to weld it up to the sides. We've positioned the console roughly where it's going. We still have to work out where it's going and dummy bolt it in. If you haven't already seen, we've got the second billboard up for our sponsors who have jumped on board, and we're about to add a brand new name to the list. Ulrich also sent us a flag, thanks Ulrich. So the great thing about these projects is they're going to remain up even after this boat's travelling around Australia. These signs are going to be up for everyone to come in and have a look at. If you want to drop into George's shop in Ingham and have a look at these things and have a look at what he does, feel free to drop in. These boards are always going to be up as a reminder of who jumped on board and the memories we had in here. So we also have to add one more name to the list, that which is North State. So North State, a rep for North State dropped in today, saw the project we're working on and jumped straight on board, and so we're going to say a big thank you to them. I've just done the gunnels again, sanding all of it with 60 and then soft pad 80, and then you do soft pad 240. So North State have just dropped off 3 boxes full of pads, 280s and a 240. So just to give you guys a look at what I've done here, I just went back over these gunnels that I've done with the 80 and then the 80 with the soft pad. And the finish on it is unbelievable, and how quick it actually takes the shiny coat off is ridiculous as well. If you're after some good quality gear that halves the worst part of the build, which is the sanding, yeah, look up North State, get onto them and hit them up for some sanding pads and a sander. This sander they gave us, air compressor one, and you can switch it between, it says random, but that's actually orbital, and then rotary, which is just spinning like almost like a sanding grinder, so it takes it off really, really quick. So I've just got the soft pad 80 on there. I've just redone the gunnels, and the finish on it, I've still got to do the 240. Also, they threw in a mask, which is awesome because I've just been sucking in aluminium dust, which I heard is not that great for you for the last 2.5 days, but now I've got a mask, so I'll be chucking that on, trying to protect the lungs a bit more. So yeah, a few soft pads in there as well. So massive thanks to North State for jumping on board. We'll get their name up on the board as soon as possible. And yeah, so if you're after some good quality gear, check them out. George and I are working separately today. What George is doing is pretty similar to how we made the seat post, but on a very much larger scale and a little bit more complicated. So nothing like the seat post. Making T-top. Last night we came up with a design that we think is going to look pretty good, I hope. And while he's doing that, I'm going to jump on the sander. We're going really different compared to a lot of other T-tops you'll see on the market. Instead of coming off the console and taking away sort of your space for walking through, we're actually going to come off the gunnels. A little bit different. We're all going to get a bit of a curve, so curve it in, and then we're going to have a really big roof on top. So down south, not so much of an issue, but up north in the North Queensland sun, really important to have shade. So we're trying to come up with the best shade idea possible that's going to really suit this boat and give it a little bit of a point of difference from other boats on the market. Yesterday we had a bit of stuff going on, so I didn't actually do as much filming as I wanted to. Yesterday I got in and completely sanded the whole boat. I've got one side left to sand and a few little bits and pieces to tidy up, and then I've actually got to go through the boat, find all the cracks and all the holes and all the little imperfections and fix them up. So it's probably a whole day of like fixing little stuff up. I'll give you guys a look right now, but so tops of the gunnels, all on the cast deck, that's all 240. All along the sides. I still have to sort of do the lids for the rod lockers, but everywhere you can see has all been done with 240, and then on the side here it's just 60, 80, and then 80 with, it was 60 and then 80 with the soft pad, and it's brought it up like unbelievable. So the wrap's gonna go on here from Significant Signs, and I think it's gonna look absolutely smick. So anyway, while I was doing all that, George jumped in and fabbed up this very own custom T-top sort of things. We Sat around and brainstormed something that would look kind of cool coming off the gunnels. It's a little bit different. I'm not really sure if it's going to have any practical issues like getting in the way of fishing. Most of the fishing is going to be done on the cast deck, and I really want a lot of shade for up north, especially if I'm living in it for a couple of days, doing some longer trips. I really want a shade. Originally we were going to do really nice, like a big circle here, medium circle, and then a little circle up the top. And we're sitting here looking at it and we're both thinking that's going to be a lot of work. And then George came up with the idea to sort of join the two and sort of make it look like two pillars. So it'll also give us more view out the side, but have a go at that. So it looks a bit weird at the moment just because no roof on it, but once it's all kitted out, we're going to do this really nice clean skin roof. We're just about to email Ulrich again and see if they can throw us one final sheet of aluminium for this build. They've been absolutely amazing throughout the build. Everything we've needed, they've sent. We've still got to build the trailer, but we've got to get one sheet of aluminium for the roof. So instead of joining a sheet, George is going to see if we can get a custom big sheet sent up for this roof. So what I've done is I've just leaned them in at the moment to exactly where I want them. I put a level up beside them and I've measured the exact lean I've got on both, and what I've done is I've drawn a pen line around the bottom, around here and around the front. I've drawn a pen line, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim that off, and hopefully when we weld the plate on the bottom, they've both got the exact same fall on both sides. So as you can see, there's a pen line all through there. When we weld the plate on the bottom, they should be sitting even when we bolt them down. So they've both got about 90 mil of lean in. Just to give you a quick heads up, I wish I'd have filmed all this yesterday, but like I said again, we had some stuff going on, so George just got in and made them, and I didn't get the camera out. So what's going to happen? What happened, George made the front sheet out of 4 mil just to give it a lot of extra strength, and we've jumped on it, hit it with a hammer just to give it a little bit of curve. So as you can see, these aren't dead straight. They've actually got a bit of curve in it to give it. This boat's got a lot of curve in it, so just having straight up and down was going to look a bit weird. So we put a bit of curve in it, and then what you do is you cut this front piece, but you don't cut it in a straight line because it's curved. You can't curve the aluminium to it. What you got to do is you've actually got to make the aluminium thicker, and then put it on the curved sheet, and then draw your lines and cut it to that curve so that thing actually follows the curve of the sheet. And then he duplicated that and did one for the other side so that both sheets have the exact amount of curve. So you do one, duplicate it, and that's your second one for over there. He's done the exact same for the back. He's put it on, traced it, and cut it. And then once we had the two sides on it, then we got measured up the back sheet, and we cut it with a little bit of green because George said the roof is going to be have a curve in it, so we've got a little bit of green up there. I don't know if you can see that. We cut that back sheet out of 3 mil, doesn't need to be as strong, cut, and then just tacked it, pulled it to and tacked it to the back. And then for this, we got the protractor, and then drew circle down the bottom, circle up the top, sort of curved the lines with a ruler, cut it out. I got the burr grinder in there and just sort of went around the rings, made sure they were both looking smick. And then George has got 3 mil sheet, bent it around the bottom of a bucket. As he's bent that around the bottom of a bucket, he's got that in, and as you can see, he's got a join here, and then he's bent that one around. I don't know what he used for that. It was probably something else. But yeah, he got something for the similar shape, just a bit smaller, like 5-10 mil smaller, and he's bent that around there. So he's done that for the top one and the bottom one, and then these two, he's just put 2 straight pieces in. So, but he put them in a little bit thicker because of the curve in the sheet. Again, he put them in a little bit thicker, and then he's trimmed them and sanded them down and tacked them together. So these still need to be fully welded out. That's our next job. We'll break the tacks. I'll cut them so they both have the same lean on them, and then we'll fully weld it out and then weld that bottom sheet on. So sorry again for not filming the exact process of how we did that. I hope I explained that. If you guys have been following along with the build, you'll know that how we did that because we've done similar techniques. So yeah, bolts on so that's it there. That's the finished product. So 10 mil plate, 6 mil plate. Now we're onto the roof. Big thanks to Gordon at Ulrich for hooking us up with this sheet. So instead of going through the pathways to get the final sheet for the boat, Gordon just put his credit card down and paid for this sheet. It's a custom, yeah, absolute legend. So he's put down, it's a custom 2200 by 2800 sheet so that we can have the roof finished in one single sheet. Drawn in the lines on the outside for how it's going to look. Got a bit of curve at the front. It's got to be flat at the back. So that's all flat. We've sort of followed the gunnel lines and tapered it in, so it's got a bit of diagonal, but George is promising me it's going to look sweet once it's up there tonight.
It's not actually flat at the back, it's going to have a curve, but we need no curves on the corners for the way we want to finish it off.
Yeah, so the whole entire roof is actually going to have a curve like that.
How much curve do you want?
I don't know, George is coming 50 mil. So what we've done is we've drawn in 3 lines, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to make stiffeners with the curve in it. Tack it to it so you get a really nice curve once it's cut out. So I'm just about to cut it out. And then you put on the brow piece and the back piece. And once that's on, then you can knock the stiffeners off. So the stiffeners are just to keep the curve in it while we make it.
And then we're going to box it up very similar to the inside of your casting deck across the top, because underneath we're doing a clean skin roof.
Yep.
So that we will see nothing underneath, no stiffeners, no nothing, everything's on top. So you get that nice clean look underneath.
Right, here we go. We just cut out all the pieces for the roof. So I cut out the roof all around there, tied it up with the sander. We cut out our brow. So we got 2 brows, one on either side. Give it a nice nice shape to it. We've sort of curved it down to a point and then curved it back up. Just did something a little bit different, something better than just, straight edge. So I've done both brows. And then we cut out really neatly our back curved section. So that's our curve on that side. And that's going to hold the curve. And then these are our stiffeners that are also going to help hold the curve till everything's in place, everything's stitched together. So we've got 3 stiffeners. Once everything's in place, the brows all made and welded together, then those stiffeners come off. And George has cut out, what sort of box is this? 100 by 50 by 6. He's cut that straight down the middle. They're our stiffeners for in the centre, and we've marked out where they're going. So when the stiffeners come off that keep the shape, so I've got a 50 mil curve on our roof, we'll put the stiffeners 1, 2, 3, 4. So George is just going to have a coffee.
Big storm rolling in, mate.
Yep.
Wet season's upon us.
There you go. So, and then we'll start tacking this up. He's just shoved a couple of bits of box underneath. There you go, have a look at that. Just to give it that curve to begin with, and then we'll tack it together and see how she looks. Righto, so we just tacked on the back brow and 2 side brows. Because we've got an angle going back to follow the shape of the gunnels, we've had to cut it, and we'll just fill that gap with a bit of weld and then sand it, and she'll look smick at the end of it. So here it is. George and I just finished off the roof. We've removed the stiffeners that were keeping the curve in it, and now that we've got everything tacked up, it's kept its shape really well actually. George thought it was going to drop a bit, but it seems to... How are you going with it, George?
Just having a spell, mate.
Yeah, letting it cool down a bit.
Cool down a bit.
Righto, so here's the roof. We just got it down yesterday and bent up some bar work using the bar bender. You've seen us use that when we made the step ladders at the back. So just kinked these to follow the roof, put in a little bit of an angle, used a bevel square to get the right angle on that. George has come up, nice little strengthening support for the rod holders. I made some rod holders this morning. They got all tacked on, and George is just going through and welding out the roof. And then we'll flip it over and fully weld out the underneath. And she's done, ready to go on top and work out exactly where she's going to sit. So I just drew a line from the widest point, which is where the front of the things are going to fit. So I just drew a line, and then I've drawn a line every centimetre so that we can line it up without using a ruler. We can just count how many it is from the side. So I marked out 20 of them, and that should make it really easy to work out where it's going to go on the poles. Just measured the pillars, and they're both still sitting exactly where they need to be, so that's all good. So yeah, final job, chuck it up there. And well, just finishing up on a Sunday. Didn't get a lot done today, but we managed to do some fiddly stuff. So the boat is pretty much complete except for the fiddly stuff. So yeah, got the roof back on yesterday and then attached the bar work. Pretty simple, just little bits of bends in the pipe bender, and then just cut it to your angle and where you want to be and make sure it's even on both sides. We lined it up eyesight and also, you know, drawn lines and made sure it was all sweet. The roof is square, it's even on both sides, so made sure of all that. And then what we've done is I'll give you a quick look. Today we've added in the top pads. So we've added in 4mm plate for the top pad, and then we've used 4mm for all this extra strengthening stuff on the side. We were going to put speaker boxes in, but I just didn't want it protruding to where you're going to hit your head on it. So we've added the curve instead. Not sure what, you could probably put something in there still, but we've just gone with the curved. You can walk straight past it, doesn't even bother you, so really good. Adds a bit of extra support. It's got really good strength forward and back, but side to side movement is not all there yet, so we might have to beef it up a bit. So this will all get welded out. We were going to go all flush in here, but George said go 5mm longer, and we're going to do some nice welds just to give it that bit of extra strength. All that'll be nicely welded. All the corner will be sanded off so it's all smooth. Weld around the base, then weld the base onto the gunnel. We might even have to support the gunnel a bit to stop that sideways movement, but yeah, today we managed to get both sides of that done, so they're all tacked on. So when we get the roof off, flipped over on the table, George can just go nuts, and we're going to attach some strengtheners from side to side across the bottom and the front, and then the tops as well, really to make sure this roof stays straight when all that gets welded out, and then we'll put it back on and get it bolted down so it's removable instead of just just welding it straight to the gunnel. So still a little bit to go, but all the major stuff is done. So now we're on to the itty gritty stuff. Got the console back in there where the console is going to sit. Might be a little bit off, I've bumped it a few times, but that's roughly where it's going to sit. So give you a good look at the boat from the outside. There it is there. First time you guys have seen it in the flesh, everything on there. So it looks amazing. Really, looks really, really good. Have a go at that. What a good looking rig. So George really hated the way I did my gunnels. He is very much, high sort of gunnels man. I'll give you a look outside at a couple of his boats, but he loves high front, loves that sleek high front, keeps you dry as, and he loves a big bow on him. So there's Lockdown, built that 3 or 4 years ago. Then he's got this one going out soon, so he really likes the steep front. I like to walk around on my gunnels, so I decided to keep it straight, as high as I could straight, and then sort of fade it back at the end there. So I really think that roof that we've come up with suits the shape of the boat. So I started this job today, but it didn't end up finishing because the welder stopped tacking properly, so I just ended up packing up and cleaning the shop up. But I've cut a whole heap of electrical box, that's what it's for, electrical wise, and what I'm doing is I'm just tacking it, stitch welding it up underneath the gunnels. So I've done 2 on this side, underneath here. If you can't reach it, you drill a 12mm hole and then just pretty much, what do you call that, slot weld it to the top. That's another way of doing it, but I can get the gun under there and sort of put a couple of welds on it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll put 2 along the front here and then 3 down the back here, so 5 on each side, just to run all the electrical wires, keep it up underneath the gunnel. So I'm going to run it down both sides. Morning guys. Yesterday we got a fair bit done. Well, George did. I did little bits and pieces here and there that I could do. But yesterday we took the roof back off, as you can see. George got our 6mm pad welded on. Nice bit of weld pouring all the way around there, look at that. We've pre-drilled our holes already yesterday afternoon, just before we took it off. Pre-drilled them all, so hopefully when it goes back on, they'll line back up. To help with lining it back up, I'll give you guys a quick look. We got some stiffeners and we put them across the front and back and then up to the sides as well, just to stop with any sort of sideways movement that might be happening, because a lot of welding went in last night. All George's work, so really nicely done. This will all get painted. My job today is clean up all the edges and sand the roof ready for paint. So I've got to go down to 180 grit sandpaper. Lots of work, hopefully no movement. I'm just about to crack these stiffeners off this morning, so it should be interesting, see how it goes. But yeah, all welded out. Big job on the sander today. George is looking after his kids, and I'll get around on the sander. So there's heaps of stuff I need to take off with the grinder as well. Tacks, a couple of really big bruising there that you probably won't get off with anything but the grinder. So I'll just quickly run over it with the 60 grit, and then any big marks that are sticking up, I'll just hit with the grinder. So that's a quick way of getting them down, and then go back over them with 60. So So I got that last stiffener off, and as you can see, probably moved about 20 mil, so I'm not sure how difficult that is to going to be put back on and line it up. Probably going to need spreader bar or something just to tweak it back out and bolt it down, but yeah, 20 mil, which is a bit unfortunate, but hopefully we can still get it back on the, hopefully we can still get it back on the boat. I'll let you know how that goes. Righto, so we're in the shop, midday, it's lunchtime, boys have gone home. We've just got taken some deliveries today. So the first of the unboxing arrived. So I don't know if I've told you guys, but Savwinch jumped on board as part of the sponsors for the build. So they've sent us an unbelievable winch and anchor package, which we're about to unbox. This is what will be going in the boat. We'll do a quick unboxing, but most of the run through and talking about it will be done when we install. So we'll show you also how to install the Savwinch. So top of the range, best quality winch on the market, I think.
100% New Zealand made. SS.
It is. So sent up from Melbourne, I think it was.
Yeah, so you got that one there, didn't you? Is that the one? The
I think so, yeah. So stainless steel, motor, aluminium gearbox. There it is there. Oh, rope and everything.
Yeah, rope. This will be all the hardware.
What have we got? This looks amazing.
Looks
1000 SS.
Right, you got your rope, and your chain will be on that as well. It'll be all spooled on that.
Yep.
Chain will be on the bottom of that one.
So it's reverse spooled.
Do a nice
Oh, that's the plate?
Savwinch plate, backing plate. Alright, you get your bow roller, nice. So that's not actually the bow roller, it's the roller behind the bowsprit. That'll actually feed the rope onto the winch.
Yep.
So we've already made the mount for that 10mm plate.
Yeah, so we put, we made it to take a winch, but we hadn't had anyone jump on board as a sponsor. And we actually plated it up, ready to go, as you would have seen in the past video. So that goes on there, feeds the line back onto your winch.
Wow, nice.
Good looking package, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Is it going to fit in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can rotate the head around anyway. Head can be rotated all the way around. But that's probably how we're going to run it. Probably like that, in the anchor wheel, with the head running forward.
Yeah.
Otherwise we'll run back like that, just so it keeps it all nice and compact.
Beautiful.
Yeah, overall, first impressions, nice. Very nice.
Righto, so we've taken a break from George's workshop, and I met Alan when he came in. Alan sells Fronius Welders, a sales rep.
Yep, that's
for Fronius Welders, and he came in looking to sell some new machines to George. Met him, and got to talking about the boat build and that sort of thing. And he said that he used to make stainless tanks.
Yep.
And I said, well, I was looking for a stainless tank, so Alan has very generously has offered to help us build a stainless tank for the boat. So I've driven up from Ingham to Cairns this morning to build this tank today. Bought all the materials, and way more expensive than I thought. It's about $820 for a stainless steel sheet if you're going to do the same thing for your boat. but it should. I've heard a few different things with poly and bladder tanks with sometimes it getting a little bit of mold in it, not tasting the same, and I really want to drink and shower out of the tank. So stainless is probably the best way to go.
For sure.
Yep. So yeah, come up today, bought the sheet. Alan's cut most of the sheet out. And he's going to teach us how to make a stainless steel tank today. He's cut most of it out already because he bought the sheet about 2 weeks ago, and I finally got up here to get it done. 1 or 2 more baffles to cut out, so we can show you the cutting process, and then he'll show you the process of welding it up with some awesome new Fronius gear.
That's it.
Yeah. No, this is all non-for-profit, Fronius, just letting you know, so take it away, Alan, what are we doing?
Mate, so yeah, we're going to build your stainless steel tank out of 316, and for the guys that don't know, that's a high grade stainless steel, so a food grade. So basically when we're finished building this, we'll make sure that all the inside's nice and clean, and when he drinks out of it, he'll be all safe and he won't get an upset tummy. Alright man, so we've got the 5-inch grinder set up over here, just with a 1mm thin disc, and we're just going to come over and cut this sheet out. Alright, let's do it.
Beautiful.
So we got one line there, gouged in, just turn it around so I can...
Alan's just cut this out with the grinder, and we're about to give it a, use the plasma cutter to cut out these. This is a baffle going inside the tank, stop the water sloshing forward and back, and then we might do one side to side.
It's actually a Hypertherm.
Yeah.
Hypertherm are an American made company. These are pretty much just like the Fronius is the Rolls Royce and the welding side of things.
Yeah.
These are the Rolls Royce when it comes to plasma cutting.
Yeah, nice.
Very well known brand across the industry.
So you hook it up to an air compressor?
Yep, that's right. Just need air compressor. You can get a model below this one that I've got here that it's actually got a built-in air compressor. So you don't need a compressor, it just builds its own air up.
Yeah.
So it makes it very portable for some guys. This one here though requires air and 3-phase power, which I've got there. And the reason why we're going to have a go at it is because we've got a couple circles to cut out for Timmy, and including pipes for his filler and his breather. And then these little semicircles, we could use the grinder, but plasma a whole lot neater and easier for us. So we'll go ahead and have a crack.
Oh, that's awesome. Here, but Alan's just made up these little T-pieces so that we can, was it slot weld?
Plug weld.
Plug weld the roof onto these things just to give it a bit of extra strength. So this is our baffle going inside. That'll sit on the center line over there. So just put the baffle in on the center line there, and we've put the sides on, tacked corner to corner on both ends, side there, and then tacked on the top here.
Because it's stainless, we definitely really want to put, well, technically it'd be the front and back of your tank, get that all locked in. Yeah. If we went and welded this now, these sides would want to bend in.
Oh, okay.
So if we put the other bits on, lock it all in, that way when we are welding it out, it's like it's not going to move on him, and it's still going to stay nice and straight for him.
All the sides tacked on, so this is our top section with our little doobie dabs there.
Just going to get some good stitch welds on the inside of the tank, on the baffle. That way all his sides are fully pulled in, fully welded, and it's not just the corner to corner he's relying on, and give a little bit more strength. And we might be putting some baffles in here too. We've got to think about that now as well if we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty much just do a little bit of welding to make sure the inside's nice and secure. And then we've got to think about doing the lid and the filler pipe before we fully lock her up, and then we can put the lid on top and
perfect.
Tack it all up and then go for it.
Alan just did an amazing job stitching in all our baffles. We got the 2 baffles stopping it sloshing side to side, and this big one stopping it sloshing forward and backwards. So that's all stitched in. These top bits, we put them on first. All the stuff just tacked on the side, so Alan's going to go through and weld all that shortly, or we're going to put the lid on.
Yeah. So basically, I'll finish welding this bit here, which Timmy's cut up. So that's going to be the pickup.
A pickup.
Yeah. So the pickup. So when he puts his pump on, it'll be sucking the water through right on the bottom of the tank. Mark a few holes on the lid. That way, when we go to put the lid on to tack it on the corner to corners, all the pickup, the breather, and the filler pipe will be all on the lid, and it'll be all in one, basically.
So the job now is to mark all those holes and cut them before we tack it on?
That's it, yeah.
Righto.
Yeah. And
then we've got to tack that in, and then, yeah, so pretty simple, just time consuming.
Yep.
And then all the corner to corner welding last, and then pressure test. So it's coming together nicely.
Bloody hell.
How's this? Beautiful. Dropped the bloody pipe and it went straight down into my foot. There's just war paint everywhere over the ground. Righto, so we just tacked in our pickup. If you can see it down there, just tacked the end of it. And we've measured 40 in and 40 into the center. And then we'll come over here. And this is our lid that's going on top. So 40 and 40, we're just going to get the, what's it called again? The plasma cutter.
Yep.
And just ground out that. That's our filler tube. And then that's our breather in the front of the tank. So the front of the boat's going to be this direction. Back of the boat this direction. It's going to be on the left-hand side of the boat. Alan's just finished up the tank. I had to go at 2 or 3 sides. And I did it all right.
Yeah,
made 1 or 2 little mistakes, but it's actually quite enjoyable. It's very easy. You sort of, with the welder, we had it on 70 amps, and 70 amps. You just sort of touch it, and the technique is sort of just move forward and come back until you see the metal pool, and you sort of work through. So Alan, I should say, cut these sheets really well, that when we put them together, they were sort of corner to corner but slightly overlapping. So with the welder explaining to someone who's never done it before, we didn't actually use any filler. Like only there's a couple of little bits. Alan used some filler, but I actually just sort of backwards and forwards, and it's a very slow motion just to fill in that whole thing. So very easy if you've got the right tools.
That's right.
Yeah,
and yeah, just like what Timmy said, that fit up is pretty essential, and having a good welder that can give you a nice consistent arc characteristic the whole way through.
We've just duct taped these up, and we're about to pressure test it. How much do you want to put in?
5 psi. At the moment, you can't see that on here. Haven't even got the compressor on, but
yeah,
I'll grab the bottle of water and we'll just give it a couple of pumps and we'll spray it. Eh?
Yeah, righto. Sweet. Here we go. So we've got each thing duct taped off.
Oops, see a bit of pressure in there now.
Bit of pressure in there.
See the sides bobble out.
Yeah.
So just go along with soapy water, really soapy water. Can be any sort of soap. I've just got dishwashing liquid.
Smells lovely.
In here.
Alan, smells lovely.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, definitely. Looks like we're in the clear.
Black.
It's getting that tarnish off the weld. Bring it back.
That looks beautiful.
To the natural stainless steel colour.
That's awesome. The lighting's not great, guys, but it is looking like it's gone from completely black to almost completely silver. So here it is. Tank's all well and good. We did the magic wand. It was sort of a slower process than we thought, but it did come up nice. We just gave it a hose down and a wipe down. I didn't really do around the tops there. So that's the sort of, that's what all the corners look like that. And then they ended up coming up beautifully. So I could have done that, but we were a bit lazy. But it looks all right. It's going underneath the deck. You're never going to see it.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
But it's a beautiful looking tank, about 150 litres. Yep. So a very big tank. It'll probably stay a quarter full for most of its life. But on the occasional times when I do need to carry a lot of water on a... That's the finished product. So big thank you to Alan and Smanko.
Yep.
I'll get their name right one day. And the next time you'll see Alan will probably be in one of the fishing videos. Saying thank you for helping me build the tank. So. Righto, back into it today. First job is installing our first product from Sam Allen. It's the NMEA 2000 or NMEA fuel sender. It's going inside the tank, and then the tank's going to get re-pressure tested again before it goes in the boat. First job's to get it in the boat and all sickered down so then we can work all around it. So it's a job that we get done and then we don't have to worry about it again. So first job, installing the MNEA. You actually have to, when you order it, you have to actually give them a tank size. So I just said 400 litres. We don't know exactly, it was roughly around that with the measurements, but I just said 400 litres. So yeah, this one just comes with the single Mamiya 2000 connection. So we're using the Stag joining paste. This is doesn't corrode with fuel, so it's one of the only ones you can use. So what we're going to do, comes with that, and then you've got to measure your tank and tell them how high it is so they can send you the right length one. And then this comes with the seal, and it's got a little notch in it to tell you where it goes with the wire because those dots aren't evenly spaced. And then what we're going to do, just going to smooth around, sit that on there. Comes with five screws in the packet for you to put in, stainless steel. There we go, they're all in. And we're just going to tighten up opposites. First product down. So let that dry, we'll re-pressure test the tank, and then tonight she's going in. So here we are after a 5-month break on the boat, just about to get back into it. George has got a brand new man working in his shop that I'm about to introduce you to, because he's going to be in the shed for the next month with me, getting it done. So first job first, we pretty much nearly at the stage of fitting the boat out. There's a few more little jobs, little more bits and pieces, but what we're going to do, first job, we're going to smash the tank in. We're going to sicker it down because everything in the tank's pretty much done. So once that's sickered in, then we can work around it and we don't need to take it out at another stage. So here we go, we've got the tank in there, we just got it upside down. We've been sitting in some water for the last couple of months, so we know that the fuel void is completely waterproof, water sealed, because the water stayed in there and it put a bit of a water stain on our alley, but I just gave it a quick sand with the Scotch-Brite today, and then I sanded out the fuel void as well. So Stubby's giving me a hand.
How you going, guys?
He's stoked to be here. Yeah. So what are we doing, Stubby? Putting the sicker down?
Yeah, we're putting the sicker down first. We're going to cover pretty much all the holes. We'll leave 2 or 3 open so we can know where we're going to center the tank. Once we get the tank in, I suppose the ones that are left unsickered, we'll put them in, screw the others in, then we'll take the ones that we haven't, that hasn't been unsickered, screw them out, put some sicker in, and then we'll screw them. Oh, I got him, bud.
So just so you guys know, this is the one we're using. Everflex PU 240. So tank's down, we've got a drill with a square tip on it and the Ulrich Pro Series fasteners, what are they called? Self-tappers. Self-tappers, yeah. Self-tappers from Ulrich. Well, here we are back in the shed after a very extended break. We finally got the boat back in. I just want to say a big thank you to all the sponsors that have jumped on board here, because none of them need to be here. Every time you call them, super busy, out of products, shelves are bare. So I want to say thanks, yeah, big thanks to all the sponsors that have come on board, because without them, this wouldn't be happening because there's no way I would have been able to put all this in the boat just on my own. So yeah, even George, he's flat strapped for probably the next 2 years at this stage. Everyone on that board doesn't need to be here, but they did. So I really want to say thank you, and it really shows how good of the companies they are to still give me a go at putting all this together. So yeah, big thanks. So getting into it. Today we've got, this is our table of goodies going into the console. There's a few things, boat's back in. I did a few quick jobs yesterday. We bolted the console in and we made a drain for the esky that I've still got to plumb out to the back. A few things are going away to get painted next week. That might take a couple of weeks, the roof and the console, and then 1 or 2 other things. So I want to fit them out first and then get them away, and then we can start fitting the rest of the boat out. So today we're going to be fitting out the dash on the console. I made a couple of templates during the week. I made a few mistakes, so it always pays to do a couple of dummy runs first. So I've got from there, that way is good on that side with a few mistakes there, and then that side is good on that one. So yeah, fit it out on the console. I'm going to chuck that up and I'm going to talk you through how to install all these products. I won't go into too much depth, we'll just get it done. When we install them for the final time, I'll talk you through what's actually going in there, but for starters, we'll just get them all in there. Righto, so I've just started with a grid pattern. I did the same grid pattern on my template. The template's just going to be a rough guide though. I'm going to measure and cut everything off this grid pattern so that everything's straight and in a line. First thing we're going to install is Sam Allen switches. We've got 15 going across the top there. The grid pattern is 50mm by 50mm, and then I've just marked the center, so 25mm line through the middle. Just going to center punch, center pop all the centers for the 15. When you mark your grid pattern, make sure to mark it off the center line and go left and right so that it doesn't, so that you don't end up with an uneven space. These are the Sam Allen switches that will be turning on all our gadgets going in and out, running through the boat. Lots of our lights and everything are all running off these switches. Make sure you do it really straight. Once you're center punched them all, I'm just going to go through with a 2.5mm drill bit just to pilot drill them all. Once you've run the pilot drill through, we've got a 20mm step drill. That should match perfectly to put these buttons in. Just go all the way through to the end. Little thing, that clip that holds it on, the screw that holds it on the back. Run that through. And that's it. 1 button installed, 14 to go. I won't install any of these until the end, just so nothing gets damaged, but Sam Allen switches, that's what you do for them. All finished up. Gonna install the helm next because everything's sort of central around that. For this, it didn't come with a template, I don't think. I never checked, but I made my own template using that. So this is a 3-inch hole saw, so start with that. And then what I did is I lined it up in the center, marked the center of these 2 directions, the center this way and then the center that way. And then I drew a line and it ended up to be a 67mm square. So this is the template I'll be using, so we'll line them up with all the lines. So there it is, so 67mm square gives you your centers. And we're going to start with a 3-inch hole saw for the center. We're going to run a pilot drill, 2.5mm, just in all our centers. So there we go, we're running a 3-inch hole saw for our center. Now our helm's these are only a 6mm hole. But I found that it was very hard to get a 6mm hole perfect around them. So what I use is an 8mm, because there's washers and nuts going on the back, you can drill slightly bigger into that and it'll still be very secure. So drill that out. Now this is your filling cap, so that goes on top. And there she is, helm installed. Just going to quickly install our key system and our kill switch for our motor. George and I went down to Townsville the other day and picked these up so we could pre-install them. I don't think they really like you doing it, but because we asked so nicely, they did. So big thanks to Motor Marine in Townsville for letting us borrow them. Both of those are installed using a 2-inch hole saw. Next, we're going to install the new Seastar trim tab controller. Seastar have just come out with this product. They recommend for their controller a 64mm hole saw, and then there's a little, because it's a spin dial to change your settings, they've got a little locating lug on top of that, so you need to drill a 2.5mm hole about 3mm up on top of the holes. Next, we're installing the battery monitors, BMV 712s from Bainbridge Technologies. These are smart gauges. I've got 2 lithium batteries from Bainbridge going in my boat, a 12 volt and a 36 volt lithium. So I've got 1 gauge for each one. Not only do these tell you all the ins and outs of your batteries, but they also Bluetooth to your phone, so you can get all your battery data on the app as well. So Victron Energy BMV 712. These take a 54mm cutout. I've just marked on the console where they're going to go and mark the center. Righto, next we're going to install a little circuit breaker. The electrician Christian just picked this up for me. So when your electric motor's charging, which it's always going to be charging when the motor's going or the solar panels are in operation, it's best to have your electric motor not hooked up. So instead of going up and pulling the Anderson plug out all the time, Christian's going to wire in a little circuit breaker for me. So I'm just going to put this in the dash. It requires a 32mm hole. Righto, next we're installing the up and down switch for Savwinch, the electric winch that's going on the front. So with this one, it's about 100mm by 60 something, I think, 60mm. I measured it out, I drew it out on where I wanted it, and I'm drilling a, that's it, 44mm hole saw for the back section. So if you drill a 44mm hole saw, that'll give you plenty of room for that back section to go. And if you want to line it up, draw out your template, and then you measure the center, and then you measure down 64mm, and that gives you the center of that for your hole saw, and that should line it up perfectly with everything else. So 64mm down from the top gives you your center line, 44mm hole saw. I'll just chuck that on now, and we'll hole saw that out. Righto, once you got that drilled, that should slide in there easily, like so. See, I've got that central with that center line. Next, we're going to mark our holes out. We're going to drill and tap these using 5mm, and it's got a little Allen key head on the top there, little stainless steel bolts. So I'll just center punch them, and then Stubby's going to use it because I've actually got a lifetime ban on all the drill and taps in this shed. Next, we're going to install the throttle system for the engine. I made my own template on a bit of scrap alley, and that's the template I came up with that fits the back of it perfectly. I just used a couple of rulers, measured what the lines were, and then you drill the holes a tiny bit bigger to fit a bolt through. The 6mm washers go, 6mm Allen key bolts go through, and then the washer and the nut goes on the back. So you can make them a tiny bit bigger just to make sure everything fits, and then this is the cutout you sort of need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center punch in all the corners, drill out all your corners, and then use the cutter to cut it all out as neatly as possible. So next we're going to install the vessel view for the motor. It comes with a template, so I've quickly just sticky tape that on where I want it, so it gives you an outline. You just cut it out like so with a pair of scissors, and then it gives you what you need. You need I think it's an 8mm drill bit, 8mm drill bit in the corners, and a 1.5mm drill bit for your little screws that come in your packet. So I'll quickly center punch all them. There it is, the vessel view. Ooh, looks slick. Next we're installing the marine radio. Now Simrad sponsor this build, but Simrad, Lowrance, same company, and the radios are actually on back order for months and months and months. So they've got one on order for me, but in the meantime, because we couldn't wait that long, I just jumped on eBay and picked up a cheap Lowrance flush mount one. So this is the cutout that came for it, the template. So I quickly cut that out. I'm going to stick it in the corner. If the Simrad one comes later on and I feel like I need to, all I need to do is grind down a little bit and out this way a little bit, and then change the screw holes, and it should be pretty close to fitting. So yeah, fingers crossed. I should still be able to fit the Simrad unit there, just with some slight modifications down the track. But for now, just to get the boat on the water in the next month or so, this is the one we're going to use. So Link 6, it's a cool little unit. Righto, last install on the console, we've got to cut out the sides for 2 NS Evo 3s sent to us by Simrad. I've already comes with templates inside the packet. I've already got them out and cut them out. Just use the scissors, neatly cut around, and I've lined them up so there's equal distance all the way around. First thing, just grab your center punch, and what we do, once you've hole punched all the 4 spots for the 12.5mm drill bit, there is 8 screw holes in each sounder, 4 at the bottom, 4 at the top. That you'll need a 2.5mm drill bit. So, once you've center punched them all, just grab your pilot drill. That's 2.5, and just go through each center. Once you've run the pilot drill through, just grab your 12.5mm drill bit. We're going to drill those out. Once you've drilled your 12.5mm around the corners, just go through with the 2.5mm and drill all your holes for your screw. Right, once you've got all your holes drilled out, remove your template from your console. And the easiest way is to grab a ruler and a pen, and we're just going to draw between the edge of the circles. So just leave a little bit showing if you've got the ruler on the bottom, and run it from hole to hole, both on the horizontals and the verticals. It's a bit hard to find a 20cm ruler, so just make one if you need to. There's a bit of box. Once you've got it all drawn out corner to corner, very carefully with the meat axe, follow your lines and cut it out. Righto, so once you finish cutting it out, just grab the sanding disc, give it a quick tidy up. Right, now this is the tricky part. So when with your 2.5mm hole, you've got these little screws. Before you go chucking your sounder in there, clean it up first, but before you go chucking your sounder in there, just grab your little screws and get a block of wax. Just act as a bit of lubricant there. And what we're going to do is you're going to pre-drill them all very carefully so as not to strip the screw head. So you just want to slowly work them in and out. If you feel like it's getting hard, back it out and put a bit more wax. And put a bit more wax on there. And then you've got to do that for all 8 holes on each sounder if you're installing 2. Right guys, welcome back. It's been a little bit difficult to film over the last couple of days. George and Stubby been smashing the workout. It's real hard to film while they're in their little Headspace music player and getting some work done. So they've just gone home. While they're gone, I'm probably going to do a massive late night here tonight on my own, just to get through a few things. I've sort of half done a lot of jobs before I need to start filming the installs and stuff like that. So I've done heaps of jobs and set out little stuff, but now we're going to get into the filming side and show you how to install some of these products that are going in. We just finished off the console, all the front of it, so all your steering, all your buttons and everything. Installed the 2 sounders up the top. You saw me cut them out, quickly pre-checked them before we send that off to paint. So the next job is, we've got everything that the sponsors have sent us that is going to go underneath the console. So we got the Sonar Hub from Simrad. We've got the smart battery charger from Baintex, solar smart charger. So this is where your solar panels go down into that before it connects up to the battery. That's going in underneath the dash as well. We've got the Sav winch. We've got the solenoid and the circuit breaker. We've got from Sam Allen, we've got 2 of these battery switches for isolating the batteries, battery isolators. And then we've got our bus bars for all your positives and negatives. But first things first, all these need to be drilled and tapped so they all fit, because if you try and do it in the console, it's going to be a bit difficult. So we're going to drill and tap them, and then we're going to tack them in there. So I'm going to start mapping them out. That's the first job, get them over on the table. Right, the first one we're going to install on our little mount. Now these are just cut out of, I'll give you guys a look actually, offcuts of our trailer. So that's 150 by 75 mil box, 6 mil thick. This is a Sonar Hub module from Simrad. Just going to put that over the top and line that up. And then we're just going to quickly mark where they're going to go. A lot of the screws that get sent with these products are not fit for aluminium. They're wood or fiberglass screws. So we've got 5 mil, 316 stainless steel. They're only about 5 mil, and then I think they're about 10 mil. And they'll go perfectly. So I've just marked the centers of all them. What I'm going to do is just hole punch them, put it in the vise, and then drill and tap them. And we'll screw that in, make sure they all fit, take it off, and tuck it inside the console. So there's the first one done, marked out, ready to go. What we're going to do is going to write top on that arrow, top, so we know which way it's going. And we're going to put these screws in a bag so we don't lose them. Once you've got them marked out, we're going to put that in the vise, just to keep it really steady. We don't want to snap any drill and taps. Here we go. Make sure you wax it up. Don't go all the way through. Back it out. Keep reapplying the wax and just slowly go through there. We just got them all drilled and tapped and pre-checked them all, so I'm about to take them all off. They're all going to go in their own bags with their screws. Still got to make a little template for this one. This is a shunt, and that'll go down the bottom. The closer you put these to the batteries, the better reading you're going to get on your on the devices, just because of the less voltage lost through the cables. So I'm just about to take all these off, and then I'm going to put them in the console. I've labelled them where they're going to go, and then I'll just put them as neat as possible, just tack them in for now, and then when I get the console out ready for paint, I'll just quickly stitch them all in. I'm about to cut 2 holes for the cables coming up from the bottom, and then I've cut a front access hatch for the electrician and I to get in and do our work wiring it all up. So we'll make a cover plate for that and drill and tap that as well. So right, we're just about to install 2 new products from Sam Allen. First one is the under gunnel light, or the floodlight. It's a 20 watt, 1600 lumen Mako from Relaxin. We're going to put them all around the gunnels, but apparently they're really bright. They flick between white and red so that you save your nighttime vision. We're only going to put 1 underneath each side of the car stack. The rest are actually going to go on the roof. We got given 8 of these. So we're going to put 1 on the front, 1 on the back, and then 1 either side of our big custom roof up there. The amount of lights that Sam Allen sent us, anyone would think we're scared of the dark. So first things first, we're going to install these tonight. It comes with this little foam pad on the back there, and all I did was pulled that off and made a template out of aluminium. So just using a 6mm drill bit, drilled through there. That's the front, and then I've drilled because our roof's got a little bit of a lip, I drilled the hole at the top for the, again 6mm at the top for the wire, and I checked that it fit on this plate. That's the front. And then I've got the 2 screw holes there. So what I'm going to do is just put that up, mark. I've drawn the center line in there, so when I mark out on the roof where they're going, I can just match it up with the center line, and then boom boom, make sure it's even, and then drill 3 6mm holes, 1 for the wire and 2 for the bolts. So really easy to do. Comes with these little stainless steel Allen key bolts and nuts, so they'll be quick and easy to put on. You can put some washers on the back if you need to. So first things, we're going to install all 4 of them on the roof. I'll just show you how to do the one on the front, and then I'm just going to go through and repeat the process for the other 3 around the side of the boat. Second thing, and one of the most exciting things we are going to be installing on my boat is the new Relaxin curved light bar. I was just gonna be happy with 2 little spotties up the front, and when Sam Allen came on board and told us they had a new light bar coming out, Dave from Sam Allen hooked us up. We told him about this project and the roof and stuff like that, and he said, yeah, this is gonna go really well. And the curve in the light bar actually follows the roof perfectly. So I'm gonna show you a quick install. It's not how they're meant to be installed. We came up with our own little way of doing it. The other day I was brainstorming and we came up with it. So yeah, this thing, we plugged it in the other night and shone it down the street. People are gonna think the sun's rising, but it's just me coming back from the reef late at night. That's how powerful these things are. I think it's 22,400 lumens. So I'm very excited about getting that on the boat. To install it, yesterday I had to come up with a little bit of an idea. Instead of running a bolt, because it's got to go through 6mm half box and then through the roof and then bolt and nut, I didn't want to run the bolt all the way down through the roof. So instead I came up with, it's a little bit of flat bar, 6mm, and all I did is drilled the hole big enough for a 6mm bolt to go through, and that 6mm bolt goes straight through. Let me just show you there. That's the little brackets that come with it. All you do is you just take them straight out of the packet, take the nut off and put it on, and you can bolt it through your roof. But like I said, instead of bolting it through the roof, I came up with a little bit of a different idea that's still going to work. So 6mm aluminium, drilled a hole big enough, and then put the grinder through it. As you can see, a little grinder there, just deep enough to take a 6mm bolt. So there's the 6mm bolt, and all I did was I took the flat disc to that bolt and made that not a round bolt anymore, but a flat one. So when that goes in there like that, and you're putting the nut on from the top, that's not going to be able to turn. So what I'm going to do, and then because the bolts are meant to go through from the top, I had to come up with my own little washer. So I went and found a 6mm cutout of a hole saw, just a tiny one, and then I ground it down to fit inside. Here's one I prepared earlier. Fit inside that little mount, that little bracket that they give you, and then you put a nylon nut on top. So I'm going to actually install these, put them on, and I've marked out where on the roof they're going to go. And then once I've got them lined up, I've got them all central, then I'm going to tack these on, take the light bar off and fully weld these plates on, and those bolts will stay on the roof. So all you have to do to install the light bar is drop the light bar on top of the bolts that are already there, put your little homemade washer on, which is right there, and then put your nylon nut on top. So like I said, I don't think that's how they want you to install them, but that's how we're going to go with the custom roof. So there it is, the light bar up on the roof. As you can see, the reason why we went with these 6mm packers is because the roof is on a slant. It leaves a little gap. It's actually a bit bigger on this side, so I'll give you guys a good look. So what that'll do, putting those packers on the roof, just keeps that mount even. And then when we weld that up, we'll weld that with that little bit of a gap in there. And then, yeah, that bolt will stay in there. It won't be able to drop out of its little groove. Just tack them on with the light bar on there so I know that it's in perfect position. And then take the light bar off and weld it out. So. Right, so we're just about to install the Mako floodlight. I'll just show you the first one on the roof, and then I'm going to do 4 more. I'm going to do 2 on the sides and 1 on the back. Like I said, just made up this template using that little foam pad that they give you. I'm going to do 3 6mm holes. I've marked the centre line of the roof. So I've just marked the centre line of the roof. Going to put up the centre line of that jig we just made. Get our pen. Make sure it's even. Mark the 3 holes, 1 for the wire and the 2 for the bolts. I just got our 6mm drill bit. Let me just swap over here. Righto, those are your 3 holes done. Blue and black is your red light, and red and black is your white light. Show you more when we go to wire this thing, wire the whole boat up. I'll slide that through the 6mm hole. We want the pull them through. We'll just put the 1 nut on for now. And there it is. That's how easy it is to install the Mako 20-watt floodlight. Literally 3 holes, all 6mm, and when that's tightened down, that'll sit flush with the roof and shine perfectly on the cast deck. I was going to end it there, but I just checked to see if my light bar would fit on properly, and pretty stoked with that. Like I said, this one went a bit cold, welded a bit cold, the rest of it's not too bad. She'll clean up nicely when it's all painted. I might just run the grinder over that real quick. But yeah, that's the light bar on the roof. Like I said, look at that, follows the curve in our roof beautifully. There's our Mako light on the front there for our cast deck. We're just about to pre-install the new EcoX Gear SEDS 32. We're pre-installing it onto the roof before the roof goes off to get painted. So straight out of the box, it comes with these little mounting brackets that go on the side, and you've got about 4 slots that you can go into every one of these. So there's 8 slots, so you've got about 32 different angles to mount this bracket. So I'm actually mounting it 4 off from the top. So using the little Phillips head screws they send you in the packet, we're just going to mount this mounting bracket to the side of the soundbar. So once you've got your side mounted bracket, I've actually put mine 4 from the top. Once you've got your side bracket mounted, they come with 6mm Allen key bolts, but because mine's going on the roof of a boat, it's going to do a fair bit of pounding. I've slightly drilled it out to take an 8mm stainless steel 50mm bolt, and I made myself a little aluminium washer there to go inside there to keep it flush. So put the little aluminium washer that I made. Because this boat's all custom, we sort of have to come up with custom ways of mounting it. Then it comes with your rubber feet in the packet. Put your rubber feet on. That slots in there nicely to hold your bolt. And then I've got the biggest stainless steel washer they do for an 8mm. That'll go on top of the roof, and then the nut will go on top of that. So just before we mounted this, I just quickly welded on some 5mm pads on top because this is only a 3mm roof. I welded on some 5mm pads, and what we're going to do is we're going to hold that up underneath, line it up. I've marked the centre line of the roof all the way through, and then I've marked equal distances. I think it was 827 mil between holes. So I've marked equal distances from the centre line to the edge, and then I've marked every centimetre out so that I can line it up evenly on both sides. And I'll get, yeah, I'm just about to hold it up. Stubby's going to give me a hand marking the holes, and we'll get into it. Righto, so once you've marked out where it's roughly going to go, I'm just going to hold this up, and Stubby's going to mark my holes for me. So,
Have you got marks, don't you?
yeah.
Did you want a distance off the front here, or?
I've got those little notches. That's centre on this side, and then I've got 3 notches on that side, and I'll move it forward so I can, there we go there. That's it there.
Happy?
Yep. Because we upgraded the bolts to stainless steel 8mm instead of the standard 6, use your 8mm drill bit. I'm just going to put a centre punch on them and then drill that out. soundbar all installed. It's probably one of the easiest installs we've had to do. So apart from making those little washers, just had to grind them out. With the added strength of the bigger stainless steel washer we've got here, the bolts, and then that 5mm plate there, it should evenly distribute a lot of the weight and any of the bounce and the pounding from the boat through the roof. So this roof's heading off to get painted, and then we'll show you the final install when it all comes back looking smick. Can't wait to see it on the boat, all lit up, making some noise. So we're just about to install the couple of hatches from Sam Allen. You can get about 30 different sizes of these. I've got 4 going in the boat, 2 different sizes. I've got 2 going in my back bulkhead as storage. These are just long, slender ones, but you can get all different shapes and sizes to suit any sort of compartments. They're waterproof, and I'm just going to do a quick install on them, show you how quick and easy it is. So I've marked my center line, and then I marked my center of my center of my center line to work out where the hatches are going to go. And then all I did is measured the back. So this is your cutout piece that's going in there. They're going to be all different, so you guys can work that out. But measured my width and my length, and worked off my center line and marked it in. And then I went and found the hole saw that suits the corner. So it turned out to be 76mm for this one. And I put that on there like that and marked the center. So drawn in all that. Took me a little bit to get it right, make sure they're all even. But once that's done, the easy job is to sort of hole saw it out and then cut it out. And I'll show you how to fit it all in. Grab your hole saw that matched the radius of your corners. There you go, so once you've got the 4 holes marked out, grab your meat axe, and we're just going to follow the lines from hole to hole. Once you got it cut out, should come out pretty easily. There you go. I haven't actually seen in here since we built it many months ago, so actually looks quite nice in there. Just give it a quick little clean up with the sander. Once it's all cut out, you can remove the lid using just prying up these little clips, and you can just get the insert. Once you've got the insert out of it, slot that into your hole. Oh, look at that. Couldn't have done that any better. That's sitting there perfectly. Grab your pen. And just mark all your holes. Once all your holes are marked, same process, we're just going to go through with the center punch and make sure we get the centers of all of them. Just use a little bit of wax and a 5mm drill and tap. And you want to go through and drill and tap all your holes. Just like that. Big thanks to Sam Allen for sending over some nav lights as part of the package. Just going to quickly do an install. I've already got started, so straight out of the box they come. Your wires, you've got red and green on the back there behind your little rubber. So if you're looking for that, take your rubber off, tells you which side. So port, left, red. That's the way it works. So we got installing the port side. First of all, measure how far back from the front you'd like it, and position, take your rubber off and position it exactly. So I went about 1m22 m from the front, put it in a nice position there. Put that up and I marked one hole, don't mark them both because this one's only a tiny little drill hole, this one. So marked the front hole and I drilled it out with a 9mm drill bit. So 9mm fits your location hole. So next you want to grab that and you want to slide that through your location hole. There we go. Once you got that on, I grabbed the pen, got it level, and I pushed the pen in and I got a tiny little dot there. So that's where I'm going to drill and tap. So I've got a 4mm drill and tap here. And I'm just going to put some wax on there and drill and tap that tiny little hole there. Once you've drilled and tapped your hole, push that in and grab yourself a little 4mm stainless steel screw there And it should be as easy as lining those screws up and just putting that in. There you go. So when that's all done, we'll chuck a little bit of, we'll put that rubber pad, chuck a little bit of Sikaflex behind it on the final install, but that's just a pre-install of the nav light. So port side, now onto the starboard, comes with a little green sticker so you know exactly where to go. So I'll measure 1.22 m back and I'll do the same process and she'll all be done. So we're just about to pre-install the Sav Winch 1000 SS. Big thanks to those guys for sending it through. We're just gonna, everything's got to be unbolted and take away for the acid wash, so we're just making sure all the holes are right and getting it pre-installed. I'll talk further through this thing once we get it all up and running. But so once you get it out of the box, it's got about 12 different locations you can set your motor at. I've set it at straight forward. And then we're just gonna drop this into our anchor well. And I've got a couple of different size packers there. So I've got 10mm packer and a 6mm packer. And that'll have equal distance between the top and bottom of the anchor well. And I've got a 25mm packer just to sit the motor on. And I'm going to take that back and line that up in the center of my anchor well. Once you've got your centers lined up, just grab your pen and run around. I've already pre-done it, so the holes are ready to go exactly where I wanted it. Get the center of the square and just give that a tap with your hole punch, with your center punch. Righto, so once you've got your centers punched, I've just got a 6mm drill bit here. I'm just going to run through as a pilot hole. Righto, so once you've done your pilot holes, just to make it a bit easier for yourself, grab your 10mm drill bit. It comes with stainless steel bolts with the square heads already on them to fit into the square holes in the winch. So we'll just go through those holes with the 10mm drill bit. So when we made this anchor well, we reinforced it with a 6mm plate. So we've got 4mm for our the collision bulkhead, and then we've reinforced it with a 6mm plate. So that's what we're going through. We're going through 6mm and then the 4mm plate. That all fits nicely. Second thing we're going to pre-install before we have to take it all out again is our line roller for our anchor. This one just goes, we put a 10mm plate here on the front there, and all we did is we just chucked that on there and we made sure it was straight. Sort of just an eyeball job. Threw a couple of quick measurements from either side and then eyeballed it to make sure it was dead straight. I then dropped the pen in there and marked them. 6mm drill bit and just go through them. Now these ones I don't think came with any bolts. So I ran down the shops the other day and just grabbed some 6mm bolts, some stainless steel washers, stainless steel nylon nuts, and we'll just chuck them straight through the holes, make sure they all line up, and we'll bolt it up from underneath. And there it is. We won't do it up tonight because they've all got to go in a bag, ready for final installation, but everything fits. We know it does, and yeah, I'll go through a proper run through, give you some specs on the anchor when it comes for the final installation. Sweet. Right, so we're just pre-installing the B40W from Sam Allen supplied it to us. They're underwater 40 watt 2x20 watt underwater lights. Here's one just here. So I'm just giving you a quick run through on what I'm doing to install it. Because we're at the luxury of starting, boat from scratch, we made up a quick 3mm bracket, just 110mm wide by 580 long, and then bent it at 20mm high. So that's what's going to be stitched on the back of the transom. If you're going straight through your transom, they do come with their own little mounting template that you can use to mount it. I've just drilled an 8.5mm hole straight through just so I can center them up. I'm going to put both lights on there, and then all we're going to do is just drill and tap using a 6mm drill and tap straight through. And just line that up so it's straight, and then just mark our holes ready for drilling and tapping. Put a bit of wax on your drill and tap. And there we go. Continue the process for the other 4. All we're using to secure them is these little pan heads, stainless steel, 316, and then we'll just screw them into your hole. And then once both lights are fitted, we'll stitch that onto the transom, and that'll be ready for final installation. Right, so we're just about to pre-install the trim tabs from Dometic. We're doing it a little bit differently to the book, so I just thought I'd run you through how we're going to install these on the back of a plate boat. First of all, I want to grab the plate, and we've got 50 by 10 mil bit of flat bar there, and we're just going to put our trim tab. I've measured and cut it to the same width as our trim tab. And we're just going to place that and run that even with the top. And then we're just going to add 2 vice grips to either side. There you go. So once you've got that vice grip to the to your 10 mil plate, just grab your pen and we're going to mark all the holes. Colour them all in. So now we've got all our holes marked, we're going to take this over to the vice and we're going to center punch all these, and we're going to use the drill and tap. And we're going to drill and tap them for our 6 mil stainless steel bolts. These are the So once you've got it in the vise, we're just going to run a pilot, 3 mil pilot through each hole. Just make sure we get it smack bang in the centre. And then once you've got all of them drilled out, grab your 6 mil drill and tap and just put a bit of wax on there to lube it up. And you just want to slowly go in and out. These are the screws we're using. They're a stainless steel 6 mil and by 20 mil. And then all we're going to do is put them all, line them all up and put them all in. So once they're all screwed in, as you can see, the 20 mil 6 by 20 mil stainless steel pen heads are sticking through the other side. What you want to do is grab your flat disc, and all you're going to do is just grind them back so that they don't penetrate or push into the hull when you go to screw them in. So the reason we're doing this is just, you don't have to, you can use the screws and that come in the kit with the trim tabs, but we're doing this just so we don't have to put 8 extra holes into the transom. So all we're going to do is line this up. With the kit, it comes with a booklet on how to install it, and it gives you all the dimensions. So you want it greater than 8 inches away from your keel, and you want it between 1 and 4 inches away from the chine. I've had a bit of drama with mine in fitting. This one here needs 14 inches clearance, and we didn't have that underneath mine because it's a 15-degree hull. There wasn't a lot of clearance, and we've got a really big boxy step on the back here. I've had to adapt it, so it is greater than 8 inches from the keel, but it is 150 millimeters or 6 inches from the chine, but that's just where it's going to have to go. I came up with this nifty little thing the other day. It comes with a set of preset angle of where you want to, on how you want to install it. So you want it 6 mil above the bottom of your hull, and then at 9 inches, because these are a 9-inch trim tab, it has to be 13 mil high at 9 inch. So all I did is came up with 2 bits of box. I put a 6 mil packer on there, welded that on, and then tacked on 10 mil and a 3 mil packer here. So it's exactly 13 mil at 9 inches. So now that makes it really easy for us to install in terms of it'll get the exact position where the trim tab needs to sit without having to hold it and worrying about it. So that's the exact level of the trim tab that's specified in the book. Once you've got that sorted, we're just going to chuck that in. Oh. I'm going to line that up with my marks that I've already got, so I know that it's good. And we're just going to put a couple of hot tacks on that 10 mil plate to hold it there, and that should be firmly in position where we need it to be. Right, so now we know that's not going to go anywhere. We're going to focus on our actuator. So our actuator goes up underneath the step. Get up underneath there. So I actually had to come up with a little cone that gave us a little bit more space underneath our step. So the other day I went ahead and did that. All we're going to do, now knowing that that is in the right position, we're just going to line that up in the center. All I did was draw a perpendicular line like a square line off the trim tab. So the top of our actuator pad, we're just going to trace around that. Now I know that that's in the center, we'll just do some quick lines around the outside, just to make it easier for ourselves, instead of marking the holes. There you go. So that's our position of the top of the actuator. Instead of marking the holes in that, all we're going to do is grab the second one that comes in the kit, just to make it easier on ourselves. I'm going to throw that up there and mark our holes. Righto, so once you've got your holes marked, all we're going to do is run a pilot through there. I've just got on there a 3mm pilot. So the reason I did the cone so long is that we could get access with the drill. With our 3 screw holes, we're just going to drill and tab them. Now the reason we're not doing the same process up the top here as down there is that this is probably less likely to get your water in it up close to the step. It is holes, but again, this is below the water level, this is above the water level, so we're just going to do the standard drilling and tapping straight into the transom. So once you've drilled and tapped your holes for your top of your actuator for your 6mm bolts, then we're just going to grab a 9.5mm drill bit. Now this one's for your center one for your wire, for your cable to run through. So there it is. That all fits snug. This is just a pre-fit. The rest of the installation will come. This 10mm packer will get welded out and everything will get cleaned up. All this will get cleaned up, and then we'll finish the final fit out when the boat's acid washed and ready to go. Well guys, this is it. We've just finished pre-installing, sanding and tidying up everything on the boat. So everything's stripped out of the boat again. So I pretty much installed and then uninstalled it and then put it away for the final install. Now that the boat is completely bare, it's just alley and a few stainless steel hinges here and there, stainless steel gas struts. That is the only things left in the boat. We're gonna give it an acid wash and a penetrol. This is the final stages before we bring it back in and start the final fit out. So just gonna run you through it. We're just about to tow it outside, give it the acid wash. We're gonna do it yesterday afternoon, but it was too windy. The acid blows around, so very still this morning, should be perfect. So I've got Brett coming in, he's gonna give me a hand. He's doing nothing, so big thanks to Brett for that. Righto, so this is we got it outside. This is the what are we using? Alley King. This is what George uses to acid all his boats. Don't read the directions. You got a lot sort of potent mix than what's on directions for use. So we use about 1/3 to 1/4. You want it sort of to immediately foam, and if it immediately foams, it's doing its job. Once it's sort of foamed up, all you want to do is hose it off, and then hit the area. I normally do 2 sections and alternate, so you hit them twice. So I'm going to do one side of the hull, then do the other side, then back to this side, then back to the other side, and then move on to the next 2 things. So hit everything twice, and then slowly move, and you want to start at the bottom and work your way up. So we'll do the hull, we'll do the sides of the boats, and then we'll get inside the boat. We're going to do all the inside of the boat, and then slowly work our way up inside the boat. So the gunnels will sort of be done last, gunnel and the lid done last, and then
Oh.
Get right up in there. And you don't want to spray the hose on. All you want to do is just wash it off, so don't spray it. And then you start at the top and work your way down with the hose.
You have another rag, or did you just use the one you're gonna?
No, I'll just use the rag in there.
That won't hurt though.
This one will be right.
Yep.
Righto, so let me just brighten this up a tad. Righto, so it's all been acid washed, put back in the shed. Give you guys a quick look. I think we covered most spots. Missed a few little spots in the ankle well and that, but oh well, that's how it is. we were sort of running low on acid towards the end of it, but big thanks to Brett for giving us a hand, doing it all. It's all come up very smick. I want to say a big thanks to George as well, because his welding is absolutely phenomenal. It all pops after you. I mean, check this out. The whole thing just looks amazing. You don't realise how good of a job he does until someone brings a plate boat built in Indonesia in. Brett's just going along and with a bit of metho, getting rid of any of the sort of black smudges we put on with the oil from our hands. And then we're going to get in and use the Penetrol. So, yeah, PPG, sponsor of this build. The guys who sell it dropped into the shed looking at boats one day and said we're happy to jump on board the project. Big thanks to PPG for, they gave us a 20 litre drum. Now probably only need a small 1 or 2 litre tin to do a whole boat. We're not going to do the whole boat, we're going to do all the inside, bar the floor. So any of the exposed alley surfaces that have been sanded back is all going to be Penetroled. Shouldn't have a problem either sticking the Penetrol, the marine foam decking onto the Penetrol. So we're going to do all the gunnels and that. This is all going to get wrapped, so what we're going to do is just nice thin border around it, probably only 25 mil, an inch or something around the side of the boat. So give you guys a look in this. Oh, how well it turned up inside. There you go, have a look at that. Look at the door, just beautiful and silver. Everything inside, cannot wait to start fitting products into all this. Like, it's going to look so smick at the end of it. There you go. There you go, that's all you need, a little bit in the bottom. You can get our rag, and we'll just do a tiny bit up the front. So all you're doing, soaking your rag up, I don't know what it is. You want to wipe all one direction with the boat as well, so if you start brushing it on this way, you got to continue that direction all the way through. So I just do a little bit on here, but all you're doing is just wiping the Penetrol onto the alley, just like that. Doesn't have to be thick. And then once it's all done, 24 hours to dry before we can start fitting the boat out. Now, I've never done this before, so don't take my word as gospel, but we'll see what comes up at the end. Try not to get too many drips or anything, you just want a thin layer on there. One direction, come on Tim. Pick your camera. And that's a tiny little bit of the Penetrol surface, and we're going to go through and do the whole boat, and that's how you apply the Penetrol. Well, here it is. We just finished Penetrolling it all. Probably did way more than we had to, but Brett's got one of George's boats and he reckons that on a few of the hatches and stuff that get wet a lot, turns a bit powdery. So he said it's better off having the Penetrol on it. So we've done all inside the hatches, top and bottom. All the rod lockers have been done. Even inside here's been done. The door's been done. All the decking where I've sanded it all, that's all been done. Yeah, all the gunnels. Now you don't have to do it if you're putting that marine foam down, but again, I've had a couple of people say that they've never had a problem with lifting, even with the Penetrolling down. So, and then if it does flake off a little bit around the foaming down the track, you can just Penetrol around it. So, yeah, so we ended up protecting the whole surface that we've sanded, which is probably a good thing. All the pod's been done underneath there on the transom. We didn't do inside, but yeah, leave that. But yeah, round all the sides and then along the chine rail on the side there, and then underneath to the first weld. So I just ran the cloth along. So beautiful in there. We got battery boxes, so 36 volt battery there. We got the 12 volt 225 amp hour, and we've got the crank battery 110 amp hour there. So yeah, a couple of battery boxes, got everything to go back in. The console and the roof are going to be painted this week, and then she is ready to be final fitted out, and yeah, get excited guys.